Hello, everyone. This is Jeanne White, and I am broadcasting from the Miami Book Fair here in Miami. And my name is again Jeanne White. I'm on Social Connections at Passionate World Radio. And today I have an excellent woman guest, and she is Lauren Wolk, and she is the author of Wolf Hollow. And this is to do about a young girl.
Hi, Jane. Yes. Wolf Hollow is about a young girl. She's nearly 12. Her name is Annabelle McBride. She lives on a small farm in western Pennsylvania during World War II, under one roof with 3 generations. And she has a pretty good life until a bully comes into it and sets out to destroy both her and a wounded World War I vet named Toby.
Right,
and
yeah.
Annabelle has to really decide how she's going to protect herself and other people who need her help.
So she becomes, to take care of herself, she stands up.
Yes, she does. She learns to stand up and be brave.
And to be speaking.
Correct.
Because of this other girl, Betty. But Betty now is, she's missing, right? And I don't want to give everything away.
That's okay. No spoilers. But
okay, I don't want any spoilers on you. But certain things happen, and unfortunately, this World War II.
World War I vet, yes.
World War I vet, I'm sorry, is now being
accused
of this whole situation.
Yes.
And this World War vet used to help her. He used to look after Annabelle.
He's a loner. He's one of the drifters who comes through those hills looking for some place to stay, some food, some work, really fleeing from things like the War or Great Depression. And he stays. He makes his home in an abandoned smokehouse, and he and Annabelle strike up something of a friendship. And he looks out for her, and in the end she really looks out for him when he is threatened by this bully, who's just a young, blue-eyed, blonde-haired girl.
And she was just a quiet girl living in a rural area, is it?
Yep.
Something like that?
Yeah,
so
she's on a farm.
She was never confronted.
No, she's never really had to deal with
no
this.
issues.
Correct.
And this is where she actually grows up.
She does. It's a coming-of-age story. Bullies bring out the worst in some people and the best in others. And this girl, Betty, brings out the best in Annabelle, and she brings out the worst in some other people who are really ready to accuse Toby of doing things he did not do. But we really see how people judge one another, and how it's really important for us to defend one another.
Right. If you see it's injustice, then that happens, every day. People are accused of something they didn't do.
Correct.
But perhaps this gentleman here, a World War I vet, doesn't have many people that are behind him.
He doesn't. He's strange. He's different. He's come back from World War I very damaged in body and soul, and he likes to be alone. He doesn't speak much. And so he's regarded with a certain amount of caution and skepticism and suspicion by the others, and it doesn't take much to push them into real fear. And that's unfortunate because he's never done anything to deserve that.
Because I don't know him.
Correct. And even though he's lived there for some time, he doesn't fit in. He's different. He doesn't fit the mold. And so people are eager to blame someone. They blame him.
And they do that now.
They do that all the time.
All the time. It doesn't change. So
it doesn't.
If you don't fit into that certain criteria, you're different. There's something wrong.
Correct. But the irony is that all the people in that farming community are working really hard to support the soldiers in World War II. They're doing what they can. The war effort is very strong back on the home front. And yet at the same time, they're so eager to take this World War I vet who sacrificed everything for his country and believe a little girl who accuses him of something he didn't do. The irony is awful. And unfortunately, yes, you're right. It still happens today.
It still happens today,
Yeah.
Is there any... God, all of a sudden, how you just lose your train of thought. It just flows away somewhere in the heavens. But when you wrote this book, how did you come about writing this book?
My mother grew up on a farm in western Pennsylvania. She grew up with 3 generations under one roof. She also saw drifters coming through the hills who were refugees from World War I or the Depression. She told these stories to me and my sisters throughout our lives. And I spent a lot of time on that farm as well. And I really thought it would make an incredible setting. I wanted a sort of a juxtaposition of what was going on in World War II and a microcosm of it going on this farm with a Aryan little girl who was so eager to disrupt and destroy everything peaceful there. But I never know what I'm going to write until I write it. So I started off with this setting and one little girl named Annabelle and one man named Toby who ended up settling there, and I just let the rest unfold. It was a great adventure.
It sounds like it really does, and it's showing how a little girl makes decisions and stands up for justice.
Right, and she learns another important thing, and that is, like most people who are bullied, she does not tell anyone initially, because bullies are great manipulators, and they convince us that if we tell it, we'll make things worse. But eventually Annabelle has to ask for help, and when she does, she grows up even more, because she realizes that's what we're here for, to help each other. Some things we can handle on our own, some things we can't, and she finds that she is a stronger, braver person than she thought she was, but she is at her best when she has allies. And she's eager to be an ally for other people as well. So it's a real coming-of-age story.
Sounds like it really does. It also sounds, too, when you come from Middle West town or something, basic people are really good.
They are, but when really basically good people, so easily do bad things when they're encouraged to do so, I begin to wonder how much is on the surface and what's bone deep. Lately we've been seeing a lot of disturbing things from people you wouldn't expect to be acting that way. It's almost like given permission, the worst in them comes out. But I do believe that bullies also really encourage the best of us to rise as well. So essentially good people, I would expect to do essentially good things, regardless of the circumstances.
When I say that, I mean, I would hope that everyone basically is good, and that their intentions are good. And sometimes their character is that they can be swayed so quickly
That's true.
into doing something that they would not normally have done.
That's an essential weakness that, and I'm not standing in judgment. We never know until it happens.
No, I mean,
how we're going to rise to the occasion, or whether we'll rise to the occasion. And I'd like to think that I would. On occasion I have, but I'm also fearful at times when really bad people threaten us. It's human nature to retreat, but I would hope that I would have the courage to stand up for someone weaker than myself.
I've helped out. I've came and did things that when I thought they were injustice, that I would stand up and do it. I'm not sure I would do it. Who knows?
Who knows?
But at the moment, that's what happens. It's the moment,
Right.
for me.
Right, and sometimes we don't see the long story coming. I'm sure people in Hitler's Germany originally did not, many of them, understand what was coming, and by the time it was there, it was too late for many of them to do anything about it. It's very hard to believe the worst of people. I'm inclined, like you, to think the best of people.
I want to believe that there is a lot of goodness there, and that we would be there to help out.
I would like to think that too.
With sunglasses on.
Rose-colored glasses. Yeah. Well, I think optimism and hope are great. I really do. Without them, we're lost. But I'm afraid that I'm also becoming cynical and not expecting the worst in people, but I'm not as surprised when I see it as I once was. And that's too bad.
Yes. But I think this book here does define some of it, as far as like giving people an insight and, in reading it. And that you're addressing this to a younger audience. Well, it's the audience. It's the 5th grade and 8th grade area that you're looking at.
Penguin actually is saying 10 and up because so many adults are reading it that they haven't put brackets around it. But yeah, I would say around 5th grade and up.
Yeah, that for them. So this would be a nice little gift for someone.
Yeah, well, the kids that I've met with, thousands of kids now, are the ones who've read it. Really identify with the whole bullying thing, but they also identify simply with the need to understand who you are and what you can do when you're asked to. Many of them have been in that position. They've seen a lot of ugliness in their lives. It's no surprise to them that they may be asked to be brave, to be courageous, and despite the odds. But they also are learning how to ask for help. We talk about that a lot when it's time to ask for help. And how you're not imposing on another person by doing that. You're actually giving them the chance to feel good about themselves.
Right. Yeah.
To come to your assistance.
Well, it's like, saying it's okay. You can go forward. You can ask for help. You can, and there'll be somebody there that's going to listen to you.
And if there isn't, you go to someone else until you find someone who will.
But now there's so much about bullying that it's much more, for me, awaring, of it. I don't have any children, but I do have nieces and nephews that we've always talked about, saying if anything or anyone has said anything to you that you feel that's not right, you have to come and tell someone.
Yeah, you do. And yet, like I said, bullies are so manipulative. They convince kids that it would make things worse if they told. And I was bullied. I wanted to spare my parents the inconvenience of having to do battle on my behalf. But in the end, I wish I'd told. It would have made things better for all of us.
Yeah, but you learn from it, though.
You do, and Annabelle learns an awful lot.
Yeah.
The book concludes with her having a much better understanding of who she is and what she's capable of. And she's my hero. I love that girl. I didn't know her that well when I invented her, but I got to know her as we went
evolved.
through. Yeah, she did, and I really think of her as an example in my life. If I can be as brave as she is, I'm on the right track.
Oh my God, that's terrific! It really is. I mean, I like books like this because it's good reading, but also has a lesson in there.
Yeah, and I wrote this book for adults. I did not intend to be giving any lessons to young people when I wrote it. I was just writing a story, and I wasn't thinking about bullying, and I wasn't thinking about PTSD, and I wasn't thinking about anything at the time except telling a story that was true to its characters. And afterwards, I was stunned when people would say, "Oh, this is a book about bullying and PTSD and other issues like that." I hadn't thought of it as an issue-driven book, and I don't think it is, but there are issues in it, and they are important issues for young people, hence the market for middle grade and up.
Yeah.
But like I said, a lot of adults are reading it, and it resonates with them as well, because we're really all the same, regardless of age. We all know what it is to be afraid. We all know what it is to try and be brave and to look for allies when we need them. So I think it's a cross-generational book, or at least I'm finding that to be true when I hear from people. So I'm really happy about that. I love the idea that it's in the hands of young people.
I do too. I really do, because reading is so important. Because it does teach you a lot, and it does expand your horizon. It does expand your thoughts.
Absolutely.
It really does everything. I want to be sure that I've asked everything I should be asking of you. Maybe
believe so.
Do you live around here? Or?
I live on Cape Cod.
Oh, wow.
I just came down for the fair, which is lovely. I'd never been to Miami before.
Yeah.
I wish I were here longer so I could really see the city. But I hope to be back.
Yeah.
And people here are lovely.
And you have some nice bookshops on the Cape.
Oh, we
Very
do.
independent ones.
Yeah,
They're really great.
we have a
so
lot of
that's
indie
kind of good
bookshops.
when people come down there.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you do readings down there?
I do. I've done a couple of nice tours. I have a new book coming out on May 3rd called Beyond the Bright Sea, which is again for middle grade and up. It's set on a little island off of Cuttyhunk and the Elizabeth Islands, which are off of Woods Hole, Massachusetts, near where I live, and set in 1924. So apparently I've sort of hit my niche here.
I think so. Yeah, you definitely
It's great
have.
fun.
Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah, I'm loving the experience of writing. I've finished another one after that, and I'm into another one, and it's bread and butter and honey and all of it mixed together.
As long as
it's
you
so
enjoy
wonderful.
what you're doing.
I do.
Because it's the passion that moves you forward.
Yes, absolutely.
It's always the passion.
Absolutely.
Do you do do you go to the independent stores down there, the bookstores, and do little readings for children down there?
Whenever I'm asked, I've actually done more off Cape than I have on, but I have a full-time job, and it's a really hard full-time job, so I end up having a lot of balls in the air.
Yeah.
So when people ask me to go, I go,
Yeah.
and the rest of the time I just have my head down working.
Yes. Do you have a website?
I do, laurenwolk.com, and I'm also an artist, so it has some of my artwork on it and some background, and lots of pictures of the farm where Wolf Hollow is set, where my mother grew up. It's very true in the setting, very true to life.
Excellent. Is there? I know we're coming to a close, and I'm sure because you're really busy here, I don't want to hold you. But is there anything you'd like to leave to the audience that's listening? Like your thoughts on the book, or about bullying, or about anything in general?
I would just say be careful how you judge one another. And, it's a cliche to say don't judge a book by its cover, but don't judge a book at all until you know it. Don't judge people until you know them. And even then, let's try and be very forgiving and eager to get along. Annabelle, through this book, no matter what she's up against, no matter how many challenges she faces, she tries and tries and tries to get along. So it's greatly to her advantage. The fact that she's unable to convince a bully to be civilized is not her fault.
She tried, though.
She tries.
Yeah, that's the main deal.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you very much, Lauren.
Thank
I
you,
really
Jean, for having
appreciate
me.
you very much for being on the show. And if you really would like to come on again, back in Boston, because I'm from Boston area, I'm from Dedham, and talk about your new books, I will write to
Anytime.
you, and you have your website, and I'll write to you and just
Sure.
say, when you're ready and stuff like that.
Anytime.
I truly appreciate it because it's, I think authors do wonderful things,
Thank
and
you.
they provoke you to think. That something is not black and white. There's
Never.
a lot of gray in there.
Never.
And we need to. And so I thank the author, and I thank you for writing that.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to write, pleasure to be here.
Good. I want to thank everyone for listening to me. It's Jeannie White at the Miami Book Fair, and my show is Social Connection on Passionate World Radio, where passion meets reality. Thank you, everyone, and thank you very much, Lauren, for being on the show. I truly appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Bye now.